Thank you guys for having us here and presenting to all of you. I'm Pete and this is Ryan, and we're both physical therapy students. We're from South Campus, so new to this area, but we hope to present what we think is an excellent product to you. This is the hydraulic stair climbing walker. And the big problem is...
So Pete and I have both observed and treated patients in the hospital setting and at home, and patients like the elderly, neurologically impaired stroke patients, traumatic brain injuries, any other neurological illness, post-op patients, total knees, total hips, that have trouble, weakness, or and a difficulty with their mobility, need walkers to get around. And currently walkers aren't able to go upstairs, at least safely. You would need to maneuver the legs in a certain way that would cause you have to bend down. Basically, it's unsafe. So looking at the elderly population specifically, it's about 40 million based on the U.S. Census Bureau in 2009, and that's expected to nearly double by the year 2030. Not quite double, but almost there. So the market is growing for people that could use this walker. There's about 2 million people, elderly individuals, that use walkers, and of those 2 million, about 62% actually have stairs that they need to negotiate within their homes or around to get in or out of their homes. And so we're looking at about 1.24 million individuals that would benefit from a walker that could actually negotiate stairs. And this walker will actually just do that.
So what's out there currently right now is a bunch of fixed, heavy-duty, very expensive items that just basically bolt onto your house, and you can't take them with you when you leave the front door. And if you go to the hospital, they're certainly going to be a difficult challenge for when you come back. So right now, ramps, they're a huge burden on your eyes, plus they're very expensive, and insurance doesn't cover them. Next to those lovely stair climbing chairs that if the power goes out, you're battery operated, and believe it or not, there are more studies that show that their loved ones fall down trying to get out of the way of the chair than actually help their significant others that are impaired. And multiple assisted devices are often used, 2 or 3 walkers, 1 cane, 1 walker, different ways of actually climbing the stairs. The problem is that Medicare only allows 1 assisted device every 5 years now. So you get 1, you have to then pay out of pocket a pretty significant amount of money. What this does, this hydraulic walker, is it kind of kills all those birds with 1 stone. You can take it out of the house, cost effective, $475. It can go up 16 inches, high-grade aluminum, pressure tested to 300 pounds, and we made it so it's all can be taken apart with a simple wrench and a screwdriver. So it's all adjustable, and you can fix it yourself if anything breaks. You don't just throw it away like all the other medical devices.
Yeah. So the impact of this walker is going to be profound, not to just the consumer, but also to the medical care system. To the consumer specifically, it's going to decrease their risk of fall. Stairs are a huge issue going up and down them. If they are using a walker, they're going to have to utilize something else to do that, or have assistance from a caregiver. And so it's going to increase their access within their home, allow them to stay in their homes longer, because a majority of the baby boomer population actually cited stairs as being a huge impediment in the future and a reason for them to want to leave their home. And on top of that, it's just going to increase your confidence to get out into the community, improve your quality of life, and basically, yeah. And then to the insurance companies and hospitals, we're looking at it's going to be a big money saver. It's going to get them home faster and hopefully prevent them from coming back through decreasing the risk of falls.
So the cost, $180 right here in this machine, about $10,000 so far we spent in product development and design. It's been a long road coming. That's the first prototype. Second prototype, about a $295 profit. We're estimating 10,000 units sold out of the 1.24 million that could use it. That's a very low estimate because we're starting conservative. It's still a net gain of about $3 million. What we're asking from you guys is $25,000 loan. We need to get our patent. We need more product development. We need to put it through its paces. We've already taken it to the hospitals where we both have been having our internships. And we really just want to see what it can handle. I put a backpack on, so that makes me over 300 pounds, and it went up and down the stairs, no problem. Nothing to worry about so far.
Yep. And here we have some testimonials of peers that we've worked with that basically have said kind words about the walker. No one has really said anything bad. We're positive results through and through, and we're hoping to continually to modify it and make it better, put some wheels on it. We already changed this one. This is the second prototype. It's foldable. we're going to make 3 different sizes, small, medium, large, so that it will be able to be used for multiple different heights.
Time for the judges to ask questions.
Fire away, please.
Oh, great. So have any patients tried this yet?
I have had several patients try it, but the tricky thing is that under hospital insurance, you can't really do it legally because we aren't fully insured or anything like that. We've asked them when they have actually graduated, and can you do you mind stepping forward and remain nameless, of course, but give us your honest opinion on how this whole thing sets up. We want to know the ease of them being able to figure it out. Basically, I said, here you go. I didn't explain them how to use it. I wanted to see their thought process, and they picked it up like that.
And so give me a sense of who those people were. Were they elderly?
Sure. Yeah, they were 65 and above, typically, total hip or total knee replacements. And there's 1.1 million of those every year. And again, this isn't for everybody.
Right.
This takes some cognitive ability. We're not
Sure.
saying every stroke patient, every ortho patient is going to be able to use this.
Right.
But ultimately, we want it to be safe for them, safe for their loved ones to leave them at home, safe for them to now enter the community. And I mean, the sky's the limit, literally. And especially in the United States, there's been a big push for handicap accessibility. But in Europe, all the railway systems still very underutilize their ability to use handicap things. So many people have said, I'm taking this on my trip. I can stow it, I can fold it up, I can drain the water. It's non-chemical stuff in here. As long as you don't leave it outside in Maine this past winter, it should be all good. There's also, we've been testing some oils and stuff like that, so that we wouldn't have that problem.
Have you looked into what all the testing you need to do to bring it to market? Do you have to go through UL, FDA, or any? Have you got a sense of that?
Yeah, so medical devices are pretty tricky in general. A lot of U.S. companies will actually have you do 1 year of pure product testing on a smaller basis, and then actually reintroduce it in Europe or overseas where there's less stringent laws and the FDA doesn't get a hand on things and slow the process down. And then if it does really well in Europe and over in Asia, they typically bring it back over for further testing in the United States.
Is it considered a Class 1 medical device?
I actually don't know the technical definition of where this would lie.
Yeah.
It's on the border of probably both Class 1 and Class 2, I assume. I don't really know the exact borders of those, to be honest.
Okay.
So as I look at the device, it's hard to visualize how someone would be walking up the stairs.
We thought we were going to have stairs available for you
Yeah,
guys.
and it's one of the things I would have suggested you have in the room.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at it going, an elderly person, it looks like it would be awkward on the stairs.
Actually, it's
And-
really easy. Once you loosen it up like it is now, you set it on the front step, about 5 pounds of pressure. It adjusts to the exact height of the stairs. And this is set for 2 steps,
Okay.
16.5 inches. Lock in, and then it stays. So this is now fully locked
And you
in
would
place and hold
use
my
it
frame.
like that
Yep.
for the flight,
You can go up
Get
and
to
down,
the
it's just the reverse
top,
going.
Yep.
and
Loosen it up, and just
Right.
push it back down. Goes back to your height. Level it out. And this one has a little bubble level, but this
Yep.
one doesn't. You're trying to button it. And the nice thing about this is there are no other walkers on the market that do it. There's one mechanical one that was in the 70s and it fell off the market. Nobody actually uses it. The other thing that this totally changes is the ability, if you're afraid of falling forward or backwards, which much of the elderly do, we have a 3-valve system that once you loosen them up, all 3, you can then go sideways up the stairs.
Mhm.
So you can go up sideways with your back against the wall, or down with your back against the wall. So it alleviates that fear of falling forward or backwards.
Yeah, so look, going up the stairs seems really reasonable.
makes
Yep,
sense.
yeah.
But coming down the stairs, where, somebody might want to have a hand on a handrail, but on this device, you're basically going down the stairs and trusting that it's non-skid and it's
Yep.
going to work the way you expect it to work.
Yep.
I guess what I'm thinking is, have you guys thought about the kind of liability insurance and whatnot you might
We
have to
actually
cover?
have, we don't have any numbers on it,
Yeah.
what our company, ultimately, we want to basically say to the medical device company, what are you willing to just buy it outright
Yeah.
after we have a patent?
Yeah.
And I don't think that, to have a business at this point would sustain a pretty high amount of
Sure.
insurance to cover it, but under the umbrella policy that they would have, it should be fine.
So your goal is essentially to license this to a medical device company, collect royalties on the device, on each one sold? How would you envision the business working for you?
Ultimately, I think that we would have to approach that with our lawyers and find out what's the best deal for us. It depends on the percentage that they were willing to give us on each individual device sold, or if it's better just to take a one-time deal and move on with the technology in a different realm. We already have ideas to use this in construction. So we're not just done with this walker.
Yeah.
We're taking the technology elsewhere too. So, but ultimately, that would be a question for both the accountants and the lawyers once the offer was made and be accepted. Have you
You guys done any like formal human factors testing of it? Because I noticed the switches, I would think that would be difficult for like an elderly person to
Yep.
work those. And
Yep, I mean, we basically made this with what we can find locally and at hardware stores. And the biggest feedback, we need wheels, we need easier valve system, usually a trigger system, which are out there, but they're not easy to find and not easy to get and apply to this specific walker. This is actually a modified walker that you can buy from a Walgreens or Sears. So we wanted to see that if we could take our hydraulic legs and apply it to somebody else's design versus building our own, which this device was, and see how it goes from there.
and which, I'm sorry, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
When you say wheels, you're talking about to make it a rolling walker?
Yep, yep.
And so how do you envision that going up and down stairs?
Yep, there's locking casters where you just flick a switch on each wheel and then you can lock into place. It'd have rubber track on it for improved grip. We already have the wheels. We just didn't want to. We're not ready to go that far in testing. This is ultimately just a stair walker at the moment. So, but to make it a more wide spreading device, wheels and skids would be a necessity.
You know, out of all, you did your numbers earlier in terms of how many people use walkers. What's the breakdown of standard walkers to rolling walkers? Are there more people using rolling walkers?
Typically, that's what we see. I don't think there's actually any studies done on standard walkers versus rolling walkers.
So
But
you pick up.
yeah,
Exactly.
like this. You know, that's very little in the hospital situations typically when they're first learning mobility and things like that. But out in the you know actual
Stairs are
real world.
definitely a must to have on this walker going forward, yeah. And
Wheels, you mean?
wheels, sorry, not stairs, yeah.
Put the stairs right on it, you're all set.
Yeah,
There you go.
exactly.
But yeah,
Little
wheels,
jetpack.
because if you want to take it into the community, you can't, it would take forever to just go anywhere walking with the
Yeah.
standard walker, so.
And what's your guys' priority list? If you got the money, what would you spend it on?
Patent first. We have a provisional patent right now,
Okay.
which is on that. We gave you guys just a little handout with a lot of the information and stuff like that. But and then product development, further testing, see if we can't even get a few trials. Both of us are going to be practicing physical therapists, so that we're going to have hopefully a plethora of patients to you know not do in a hospital setting, but to get them once they're healed to try it out and go from there and get testimonials, bring our data to a manufacturing or a medical device company like Drive, and go from there.
So are you looking to patent just domestically, or are you looking to patent ex-US as well?
I guess at this point, depends on the price tag. I'm sure, I only know the US patent, so I don't know, you know, worldly, the cost difference.
And you haven't, I'm guessing you haven't explored reimbursement outside of the United States. You talked about Medicare, one
Yeah.
kind of device a year
Yeah.
per person.
Yeah.
Is there a cap on that? What's the reimbursement for that? You said, I know it's one device, but
It depends on the medical need, and it depends on what the professional, usually a physical therapist, orthopedic surgeon, says that you need and will need in the 5 years. Like wheelchairs are a whole different ballgame than assistive devices. It's still considered an assistive device, but depending on how disabled you are or the person is, that's the device that they will, you know.
So you're speculating that the entire cost of this $495?
$475, yeah.
$475 could be covered by insurance?
Oh, yes,
No
definitely.
out-of-pocket?
No, well, I mean, there might be some deductible depending on their plan,
Their
you know,
plan.
but at Medicare, they typically would cover the whole device for that person. But if they wanted to buy it out of pocket, it's a heck of a lot less than the thousands of dollars you need for ramps or even, you know, the stair climbing seat.
Your cost to manufacture the walker you put up was
$180. So the total amount of a metal Delrin that we've machined on a lathe, the tubing, the valves, and basically the 45 minutes once you have all the pieces to put it together is what we come up with that $180. So it's about $100 in materials that are in here right now, including the original walker, and then the labor with 45 minutes.
So that number could change.
Oh yeah, hopefully it will drop
Drastically.
significantly once you get into mass production, you know, computerized lathe and a assembly line type of facility. But you know, that's where the medical device, it's got to fit the right medical device company that has that in place. And Drive, G&E, a lot of those companies that are actually in Massachusetts have those setups.
Judge, you get one more minute of questions.
Sorry. And oh, I wanted to show you guys, this is one of the legs that we have, and it just kind of shows what's in the inside technology. It's it's a cup leather. You know, it's an old technology. It's not anything fancy. It's been dipped in wax, it's been heated up, it's been form fitted, and then it has a plastic O-ring, rubber O-ring around the heavy duty dell ring. And so far, this has been in service for 6 months and hasn't leaked a drop, and is fantastic. This one's newer,
Yep.
so still out. But that's the technology. It's simple and hopefully foolproof.
So where do you envision is your point of sale? If you were selling it or a device company was selling it, are they selling direct to hospitals and rehabs? Are they selling direct to end patients? How do you see the sales, chain developing here?
Mostly through hospitals.
Yeah.
That's where we see the biggest need for it at this point. I mean, we are still small in our vision, but ultimately you need someone who is educated and a licensed movement specialist to say this is the right product for you with your current status that is going to be the best benefit for you. I don't want to see this in a Walgreens or direct to or on the internet because that increases your liability. You want to make sure that you're covered.
Right about there. The next group's going to come in, the judges are going to have just a minute to write down their scores. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, good job.